goods from the woods.
Hot damn!
I wanted to bring back a little segment we haven't done in a while, and that is that I want to put somebody into the Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame.
Whoa.
James Jarrett Miller. He was born October 28th, 1963 in Havre de Grace, Maryland. He had 3 younger brothers, 2 younger sisters, and in 1976, the family relocated to Tok, Alaska. Miller later earned an associate's degree in computer programming from the University of Alaska at Juneau, and in the late 1980s, he moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. Where,
this is what I think it is.
Where he took up an interest in flight. He began building jetpacks. He started with a jetpack and soon moved to 2-cycle aircraft engines, which powered him through the skies above the desert. He actually began setting power gliding records for altitude and distance, but he also had a reputation for reckless daring.
A little self-promotion.
A little bit of a fame hog. So he, in 1993, specifically November 6, 1993, Miller planned his first and probably most famous stunt. During the heavyweight title fight between Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield.
Appears to be a little swelling under the left eye of Riddick Bowe. Nothing serious right now, but they've been using the end swell right from the first round, probably as a preventive measure. And whoa, somebody just... There's been a parachutist, a skydiver, has just landed here at ringside. And there is chaos here at Caesar's Palace in the outdoor stadium.
Miller descended into the side of the ring during the second minute of the 7th round of the fight after circling Caesar's Palace for 10 minutes. The line of his paraglider became tangled in the overhead lights, which he landed on the top rope of the ring with his parachute. He tried to hang on with one foot and one hand on that top rope for a few seconds until he was dragged down into the crowd by spectators. Fans and the fighter security details swarmed him and immediately began attacking him. He was beaten into unconsciousness during the attack. One security officer reportedly struck Miller 20 times. He was rushed to a nearby hospital as spectators cut his paraglider into pieces for souvenirs in what would forever be known as the Fan Man incident.
Man.
Famously portrayed by Mo Sizlak on an episode of The
Simpsons. Yes.
Fan Man is one of the most ridiculous, inexplicable things ever, even if you know what's happening.
It's so crazy.
It's like the Shockmaster, but if the Shockmaster lasted for like 15 minutes.
And was then beaten into unconsciousness by random people.
No, by Riddick Bowe's entourage. Because, it's Riddick Bowe's entourage because almost everybody beating the crap out of him is wearing Fila stuff.
Oh, God.
And Riddick Bowe...
sponsored by Fila?
Oh, Riddick Bowe rep by Fila, yeah. And it's so ridiculous seeing a throng of people beat the crap out of a guy who's wrapped up in the ring by a parachute while an open industrial fan is just going like they could have honestly if they decoupled they could have thrown him into that fan and chopped him into pieces.
Yeah.
Because this isn't a thing where he lands in the middle of the ring during the in-between period between rounds.
Like in the middle of the fight.
This is the seventh round. In the second minute. So it was the thing where Bowe had Holyfield because Bowe was a fantastic boxer. So because of the fact that Holyfield had the time to deal with the fact for 15 minutes that there was this guy with a fan attached to him that could kill people.
If you just read it in a boring tone, it's so out of nowhere where it's just in round 7, Holyfield would hit Bowe with a right hook, and Bowe would respond by throwing a powerful combination at Holyfield, landing several punches in the process. The fight was stopped after a man crashed into the ring with a power glider, causing a 21-minute delay.
Yeah, and in that 21 minutes, the whole audience in the front row is just okay, it's open season.
What is this? What is happening?
It's just okay, this guy is going down. This guy has messed up so bad that I could give this guy an Olympic grade ass whooping.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I wouldn't get arrested.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get arrested because of this guy.
So his quote after the fight, by the way, is so good. It was a heavyweight fight, and I was the only guy who got knocked out.
Oh, he got destroyed.
So they literally beat him unconscious, and then they took him to Clark County Detention Center, where he was charged with, and I didn't know this was the thing you could be charged with. He was charged with dangerous flying, and he was released on a $200 bail. So that's 1993. January 9th, 1994, Miller circled approximately 1,000 feet over the rim of Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in his paraglider during the Denver Broncos Los Angeles Raiders NFL playoff game.
Oh my God.
He landed in a park just north of the Coliseum, where he was immediately arrested for interfering with a sport event. Again, he keeps getting charged with shit that I didn't know was crimes, like on the books crimes. Like common sense would tell you were crimes, but I'm like, who got arrested first when this had to be a law?
Absolutely.
He's lucky he didn't land in the middle of that game because it was a home game.
Yeah.
All the Raiders fans that all look like Hawk and Animal with the Legion of Doom.
Well, no, but think about who else
Okay.
He's getting his ass kicked by Darth Vader.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, he gets his ass kicked by Raiders fans. Best case scenario, 1994 Rampart era LAPD. Fuck both of those things.
Not good.
Yeah.
Or like, his best case scenario is he gets his ass kicked by Howie Long. That's his best case scenario.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned Howie Long. Raiders defensive end Howie Long explains, quote, "Magnify that other beating tenfold. That's what he would have gotten here if those Raider fans had gotten a hold of him."
So we were all on the same page.
Yeah. Later in the same month, he skydove into the middle of a Bolton Wanderers Arsenal 4th round FA Cup football match at Burnton Park in Bolton, England.
Wow.
After serving a 7-day prison sentence, Miller was deported by British authorities February 5th. He was witnessed by British police paragliding along the mall before landing atop Buckingham Palace. He then removed his trousers, revealing that he was painted green from the waist down. So
is he okay? What's wrong with him?
Not at the end of this story.
Because the recurring sports interrupter at the time,
it was Rainbow Man.
The person that had the belt was Morgana, who is a woman with giant breast implants that would go on the field and kiss the players. She was called the Kissing Bandit, and she would go on the field, and she had like Ric Flair blonde hair.
Okay,
and she had the size of her breast implants goes into like Greek letters, like, and she would just grab the player, and she'd wear Daisy Dukes, and she'd grab the players and give them a kiss, and then the umpires would just be like, "All right, you're out of here," just and they would be and she was like the go-to.
Yeah.
So it was a more jovial time when it came to interrupters for sporting events.
Yeah.
Fan Man took it to a whole nother level, and it turned into.
But yeah, he was arrested without incident, fined £200, and was again deported. This time, banned from re-entering the UK
Not
for
a
life.
bad fine.
Yeah.
About like what, like $350 ish?
Even back then?
Yeah. Well, it'd be I mean, the British pound's always about 3/4 twice as strong as the dollar.
Yeah,
because
because if you did that with like even in the 1990s, if you did that in the United States, he would have been shot like.
I parked in an illegal spot.
Yeah.
I parked in an illegal spot one time and paid more of a fine than that.
Yeah.
I got towed my first week in LA, and it was way more than that.
Yeah.
When asked by reporters what his motives were for staging these stunts, Miller never gave clear answers.
My mom's affection.
Yeah, just notice me. Miller never gave clear answers. He claimed that he intentionally landed in the ring to break up the Bowe versus Holyfield match, claiming he was opposed to violence. Miller's younger brother later stated that Miller staged the stunts because, quote, he was basically bucking society. He was mocking our rules, making up his own as he went along. Kind of just making a mockery of society and the way it works and what our expectations are.
Wow, you nailed it, Fan Man.
Fan Man. I wish this story had a less sad ending, but oh boy,
no.
It's real sad.
I was going to ask if he was still alive, but it sounds like he's not.
He's the only person that died of Korean fan. He was the one that the ceiling fan killed him.
After being deported to the United States, Miller received death threats for interrupting sports events. So in 1996, he relocated to Valdez, Alaska, where he lived in a hut with no indoor plumbing. He continued to fly ultralight aircraft and paragliders in the Alaskan wilderness and gave lessons. Miller briefly worked for a computer company before opening his own computer business. In 2001, he was diagnosed with coronary artery disease and underwent double bypass surgery. There were complications, and Miller developed health issues. He underwent 2 additional surgeries to correct the issue, but continued to experience chest pains. He was unable to continue flying. And on September 22nd, he was reported missing after he disappeared into the wilderness. And they looked for his body, and they eventually found him hanging from a tree.
Oh, he killed himself?
He went into the woods.
This is what Kanye's ultralight beam was about. It was actually about Fan Man.
Fan Man.
Well, no, I mean, when you were talking about like Alaska, I was starting to like, my brain was starting to work and be like, yo, was he Grizzly Man?
So the
I can't be Fan Man anymore. Might as well be Grizzly.
I mean, well, he was all right. So he was found so far off the beaten path that police said that they believed that he'd veered off the trail in hopes that he would never be discovered.
Wow.
So,
poor dude.
so I think it's sad. Obviously, and the crazy thing is that his suicide did not become known outside of Alaska until 2003, like the end of 2003, when ESPN was trying to do a 10-year anniversary of the Fan Man incident. They're like, "Hey, where's Fan Man?" And they're like, "Oh, it's sad.
You don't even want to know.
You don't want to know."
Poor Bill Simmons had to fly all the way up there just to find out Fan Man's dead.
He went to ground.
He had all sorts of Roddy Piper metaphors that he could have used, and he couldn't.
Fox Sports Net ranked Miller's crashing into the boxing ring during the Bowe versus Holyfield match as the #1 most outrageous sports moment. And of course, as you mentioned, he is in the episode "The Homer They Fall," the Simpsons episode.
Saving Homer from Dedrick Tatum.
Yeah,
That has one of my favorite jokes where he said, "What is it? This dude's hungry," and they'll be like, "How hungry is he?" And he's like, "He's actually fighting for a sandwich."
yeah. Honestly, I mean, this is one of those things where, you want to be remembered.
Yeah.
And it's like you could either be remembered for consistent hard work and dedication to your thing, or you can just do the craziest fucking thing anyone's ever thought. No one could have predicted
Fan Man.
in the middle of a boxing match that a man attached to a fan would crash into the ring.
And it's like two boxers in their prime in the middle of like the most epic rivalry that boxing had seen in a while.
Yeah.
Because they were two very evenly matched fighters. And then it's like, how are we going to figure out how this ends? And it's just the most surreal, Dadaist sort of.
Yeah.
And that he appeared to have no ideology.
Yeah.
He was just crazy. He's like the Joker. He's just insane.
Yeah,
he's
like the world burn.
And like Riddick Bowe, whenever they would talk about it, they were like, why'd you lose? He's like, there's a guy on it with a fan.
What do you mean?
I had Holyfield beat.
So that is James Jarrett Miller, a.k.a. Fan Man. Though you have passed on from this world, you go into immortality as part of the Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame.
Fly on your way like an eagle.
I mean, like,
I think they owe him a statue outside of the MGM Grand.
fuck yeah, they
Of
do.
just a pole and him
just-
circling around the pole.
I'd like
Yeah.
like a tether ball.
Yeah, like a tether ball.